Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to our today's webinars, Flowmon Live, where we're going to look at the optics of network detection and response. My name is Filip Černý. I'm the product marketing manager for Flowmon product line at Progress, and I'm going to be your host throughout today's webinar. So let's just start. So I would like to start in the beginning with a little bit of theory, and then we will jump into the live demonstration. So let me start with the quote. Detection and response are more important than blocking and prevention. And we know this for many years. It works same as in cybersecurity as in our daily lives, where first we need to have a disease before we can come up with a cure. And attackers are always one step ahead of, and we need to be looking for symptoms and early indicators of compromise rather than only searching for known viruses to be ready to reduce the risk and to be able to respond on. So such indicators of compromise could be different types of attack, like scanning for open ports over the network, or trying dictionary attacks or brute force attacks to break the password, denial of service, or different anomalies that look for that are different than what we expect from protocols such as DNS and others. It is also different unwanted application changes in behavior of the device, and all of those can help us to identify where there is something wrong in the network and if it can be malicious, so we can focus on it. Traditionally, detection capabilities we focus on have two spots in the network. So the first is the perimeter, and that's what kind of divides the internal and outer network or the internet, and the other points is endpoint, where we've heard of endpoint detection and response and antiviruses and those sort of solutions. But threat actors are aware of those that they are usually deployed in the situation, and there is still some gaps that they are capable to work with. So what we are looking at is the MITRE ATT&CK framework, where we can see at the top the MITRE ATT&CK tactics. And this is basically a simplified version of a cycle of a breach or cycle of the attack. So we know what are the different stages of the attack, so we can better prioritize. And what's important to see is that the network detection response, or basically monitoring the network, can nicely cover majority of these MITRE ATT&CK tactics or these stages of the life cycle, and contributes the others that are covered by perimeter and endpoint. So we know that we're not the only technology on the market. We've been recognized by Gartner at least from 2010 with our network detection and response capabilities. And during all this time, we've seen, I would say, two types of technologies. Most detection solutions are based on statistical methods that trigger alert when there is a big spike or big change in the traffic. We specialize on finding small deviations that help us to find low and slow attacks that are otherwise unseen by other technologies. Another issue that many companies have is that due to their solution architecture, they require too much hardware and resources and it gets out of budgetary limits of customers to cover more than only mission critical systems, and often they have no visibility into other parts of their IT environment. Whereas with Flowmon architecture, that is very scalable due to the amount of detail we process and the resources we need to do our calculations. We can detect even throughout the whole IT infrastructure, the east-west traffic, regardless whether it is in a private cloud or public or hybrid. We can monitor all critical system from a single pane of glass. We use different detection methods, and not only to rely on mathematical and statistical models. We use combinations of machine learning, adaptive baselining, heuristics, and even our own proprietary technology, which is behavior patterns, allowing users to create their own detection capabilities on the metadata level. And we complement all those methods with reputation data, and also leverage signature-based detection for additional insight. We do not rely on the signature-based detection. The whole value of the NDR solutions is that it doesn't rely on signatures, but we provide it as so it gives the additional insight. And all of these detection methods are then compiled in more than 200 different algorithms and 40 plus detection methods to provide those threats and anomaly alerts and evidence for security operators so they can react on. So our approach is different, and what sets us apart is that our early detection can be much more precise and help you find those attacks that are undetectable by traditional approaches. We also provide you context average information that I will show you momentarily in the live demo that will immediately help you to understand what's going on and respond fast with confidence. Due to the incorporation of multiple methods, we also give you lower number of alerts, because before showing something, we try to make sense of what it is and help you getting noiseless insight and only the amount of information that you need for response. And our architectures enables to scale across the entire IT environment and deliver the same visibility and detection capabilities across your entire landscape. Another benefit that sets Flowmon apart is that we offer network observability for both networking and security operation teams. We do this because in our experience, we see that especially in larger networks, these teams are siloed and they often spend the same money on overlapping functionalities. And it's just excessive money that goes into waste, especially when we think that of having separate dashboards and separate teams, even though they have to collaborate on many activities together. So the benefits of combining the network and security operations teams together under the same dashboards is that we help them to join their live efforts on daily activities, like building a safer infrastructure, doing a faster response, or the automate activities. So it's a single source of truth that comes in a shared platform and helps to look at a single event from two different perspectives that are meaningful for those targeted viewers. We also help to optimize spending, because you obviously don't have to buy multiple technologies to achieve the same goal. And we have to reduce the breach impact, because faster collaboration means faster response. All right, so that has been the initial intro for the theory, and with that, let's look into the live demo of the Flowmon solution. So let me just make sure that you're seeing the screen right. Okay, and so this is the main dashboards that you can see through Flowmon solution. You can easily create as many tabs as you want at the end and customize the widgets as you see fit. I personally like this widget because you can see, your critical priority events in the last 24 hours. You can see the top 10 events typed by priority and by the count. You can see the latest and new events that occurred in your environment. You can have the overview of all the events by type, or top IP addresses with the most anomalies counted. What I would like to share with you as well is a view through the MITRE attack framework matrix. So we've covered that into the presentation. So as you can see at the top, you have a number of different tactics that corresponds to MITRE attack framework, and you can see how many types of events were detected. So this sort of overview gives you a quick insight into what sort of anomalies you have in your environment and what probably you should be focusing on first as it moves further down the attack cycle. We can even monitor the encrypted traffic. So for example, for compliance purposes, you can see how many TLS version 1.1, 1.2, or 1.3 you have in your environment, as well as, for example, visualizing your whole topology on this map. So if I go back to my SecOps security operations dashboard, and I can just easily click to the magnifying glass to get to further investigation. As you can see, it will automatically kick me into the anomaly detection system, which is the product of Flowmon. And I have prepared here one use case that I wanted to show you. So we can see the anomalies as they occurred on the timeline. We can view this either by different detection methods or by specific priorities. And we have those anomalies listed below the graph. So for example, if we were to look at this upload anomaly, I can just easily unplug and see I've got one event of this type of anomaly that occurred from my IP address. We can see that this IP address is a local IP address. We can see a graph over timeline that occurred between 7 and 7:30. We've got the specific detection time listed here, as well as the detail and who were the targets. So let's say I want to look a little bit further. I can just click on the ID of the event and I get this nice view. So I can see what type of anomaly this is. So this is a data upload. We've got the subtype with the description. So this reports devices that excessively upload data outside of the allowed network segment. We can see the detail, meaning how much data were uploaded, over 22 megabytes. We can see the specific tactic and technique of the MITRE attack framework. So we can see that this is an exfiltration attempt. We've got timestamps on the left segment, and we can see the detail that the source is the IP address, and we can even connect through user identity, so we can have a name of the specific user listed here, which I can show you next time. It's not visible on this example, but we can see that the communication comes from the local IP address to this blacklisted IP address, which I know is blacklisted because I've got this skull icon next to it. If I don't recognize the flag, I can just immediately see that it's a communication to Thailand. And if I would want to see, for example, specific attributes, I can see here, how much byte it was, what was the duration, and it gives me sort of a summary of all the important information. And if I would want to see, for example, the evidence, it gives me all the flow records that are related to this anomaly. So I can see, the source and destination port, how much data and packets were transferred, and so on. So let's say that I would want to investigate this a bit further. So I know that it's this IP address. I can just easily copy it, and let's move from analysis view to the event view. So in the event view, I can easily mark down the IP address and look for the data. So first, I can see the data by a simple list. If I just click on detection type, I can order it as though events occurred in time. So I can see that first there was a scanning that occurred in the network. I can see that it followed the scanning occurred for these IP addresses. There was a dictionary attack for just this specific IP address, and I can see the follow-up view all the way to the end for the upload anomaly. Let's say I would want to see a different view. Let's look at the aggregated view and apply. Again, we first know looking for this IP address. So if I just limit this and focus on the full example, so I know what other examples were there, I can easily view it and see that from the first upload anomaly that we've investigated, there were some other anomalies that occurred before that final upload, and that there was a full communication with a different IP address. I can even view it by MITRE attack tactics and techniques. So let's say, for example, that first we can see there was a credential access, so there was a brute force from that infected IP address to those other two. Then if we can check the discovery stages, we can see that before there was a scanning or TCP scan for these 3 IP addresses, there was actually a full scan to basically the whole environment, to all the IP addresses. So I know what preceded to this step. Then there was the lateral movement, so I can see that there was some high transfer of data from that IP address, from this, probably the server ending 1.2 to that infected LAN IP. And if I would want to again see the detail, I can just click on the event ID and I get the full detail here. If I want to continue, I can see that there was then the exfiltration from that IP address to the blacklisted IP address through probably some ICMP protocol. So if I want to get more look into the further, I can see that this is a type of anomaly which is a large payload. I would probably be aware that the ICMP protocol should not carry a payload, so this might be a really big anomaly. And on this specific example, I know that the attacker split the data into the smaller chunks and exfiltrated the data from the network to the blacklisted IP address through the ICMP protocol and just ping it out of the network. So it's quite a sophisticated technique how to exfiltrate the data. And lastly, I can see there was some impact, which is a data encryption. And we can see that the source is again the infected IP address that is probably encrypting the data on our data server. So this is the type of sort of threat hunting that we can do just plainly from the perspective of seeing an anomaly in time and drilling down to find what caused it or what happened before. We can have a number of different perspectives or view that we can create. For example, if I would want to see all types of anomalies that we can detect in the, let's say, last month, I can then apply that filter, and I can see I've got, again, bunch of different detection methods sorted by priorities or not, and I can see, for example, there is a behavior patterns anomaly triggered. So let's look at this, and I can see, for example, that for this IP address, there is an event of, I have it on a larger time scale. This is our demo, so that is why the count is basically on a repetitive pattern. But I can see that this is the anomaly for cryptocurrency mining. So I can see that this is the source of the cryptocurrency mining that I would definitely do not want to see in my environment. We can, for example, see the dictionary attack. So that is the brute force attack where somebody is basically trying to break the password. So we can see there is an RDP dictionary attack attempts, or we can see Samba dictionary attack attempts. So if I can easily click on the ID event and click further, I can easily, for example, dog the anomaly in the window here. So I can then, when I'm investigating more anomalies, I can basically just put the ones that I'm interested in the tab, and then basically just easily move from one to another. I've got all the evidence needed. And for example, if I want to investigate this second one as well, I can see that there is some BitTorrent traffic, which I definitely don't want to see in the corporate environment. So again, let me look at it. We can easily dog the window, and I get all the relevant information here. As I was mentioning, we can see that we can connect the user identity with Active Directory. So for example, I can see that for this BitTorrent traffic that occurred in my environment, the computer of the CEO was involved. So probably something that we would need to check with him. So that is the demonstration, and let me come back for the presentation as well. So I would like to also share with you what we are working on. So there is a sort of a glimpse into our roadmap for the upcoming releases. So first, what we will introduce is the intrusion detection and event visualization. So if I go back and show you, for example, on the ransomware use case, how we view the intrusion detection right now. This is the information that we basically enrich the intrusion detection system from Suricata. Let me just go back. And show you. So for example, at this event, if I can see, I can't see it here, apologies. So basically I can see the related IDS evidence displayed here, but it's in a different view than what we are working on. So if you allow me one more second, I will just find a different anomaly. This is the demo. If I go to the upload here we have it. I'm working on in two different environments, so that's why there the use case is a little. So here we can see the relevant IDS events in the same view, and currently we're displaying it here. So what we are working, for example, here I can see that this is the possible Bluekeep RDP exploitation attempt. So what we are working on is to show you the same visualization as we have in the analysis view for our detection methods. We will have that same view showcased for the signature-based detection as well, to provide more context in the view that you are basically more used to. Next, we will also introduce is AI-assisted direct enrichment. So for one, we will have at a glance view of all the events and their trends on the network to help us understand where to put our focus first. So instead of showing you a list of all the events sorted by priority or detection methods, we will actually tell you which situations are aggregated as a whole and you should focus on, because they have the biggest potential of impact on your data. And we will also introducing a new concept of threat index, where all IP addresses or hosts in the network are grabbed by a threat index, which is calculated by different threat behaviors, detected incidents, their involvement in different types of indicators of compromise, and really making sure that user can navigate and understand the critical points in the network without having to dig deep. Another great addition is the application and platform information, where all IP addresses will not only be shown as a username, but we will that we will get from LDAP or domain names like we do today, but we will also enrich the external addresses with the logo of the service, with the name. So for example, you can see that there is the 10-cent cloud service, or it can be a Microsoft 365 or something else, and with some relevant information like the link to the website and the description. Okay. We are proud to offer the fastest time to value on the market. So with Flowmon, it takes 30 minutes to an hour to deploy the solution. You literally go through a configuration wizard. This is not a black box solution that you don't see into. You have full access to the guts of the solution. And the process of tuning is very quick, and we can give you first results within hours or days after the initial deployment. I'll help you detect events in real time and reduce the time to resolution by the factor of 16. So with that, that is the end of my presentation. And I just want to say that you will have this recording available and we will send it to you in the follow-up email, as well as the invitation for the free trial and the proof of concept. So we would like to invite you to try the solution for yourself in your environment. As I mentioned, the solution is easy to deploy, and you can sort of have this eye-opening moment when you can see what sort of anomalies we can detect in your environment. So with that, I thank you for your time and have a great day.